Hello and welcome to Rise and Unwind. And on this week's show, I got to visit Eddington, New Mexico. Yeah, it's not a real place, but got to hang out with Ari Aster to talk about it.
I'm from New Mexico.
Yes.
I grew up here, so I wanted to make a film in New Mexico. I've wanted to for a long time.
So that's part of what makes the show so exciting, is the live aspect of it, is the fact that we're going from department to department. And you're right, making those calls sometimes isn't easy.
My favorite thing in the world to do is laugh. I believe that laughter is healing. Even in, just dramatic situations, sometimes you just gotta step back and you just gotta laugh at the ridiculousness that we are living in, that we have to navigate through.
All of that and more right here on Rise and Unwind.
All right, I'm here with Ari Aster, director and writer of the new movie Eddington, and I'm just gonna have to tell you that I hate you. And the reason why is you put me through so much stress today watching that movie. I loved this film.
Oh, good.
It's hard to start an interview by saying I hate you and I also love the film all in the same statement.
No, that's good.
You set this during a really tough time in history. During COVID-19, you have a sheriff kind of struggling through a lot of personal issues while dealing with, I guess, professional issues.
Yeah, among other issues, yeah.
And it's all set in a small New Mexico town. What brought you to, focus all of that energy in a really interesting time in a small town, which shouldn't have really that big of an impact on the world, but in this movie, massive impact. What kind of put you there?
Well, I'm from New Mexico.
Yes.
I grew up here, so I wanted to make a film in New Mexico. I've wanted to for a long time. And in late spring, early summer 2020, I was here in New Mexico, and I just wanted to make a film about the environment. And I don't mean the environment in New Mexico, but rather what was happening in the country, what was happening all over the world, but just basically make a film about a bunch of people who are living on the internet and who are living in different realities. And then make a film about, what happens when these people who are not reachable to each other and they're living in separate realities, what happens when they start bumping up against each other? And what's the logic that comes out of that, right? Pushing them deeper into their paranoia and convictions, and how that, it leads to violence because there's nothing in the ether that's holding them together anymore.
I had noticed in this movie, it's probably the greatest usage of phones I've ever seen in my entire history of watching movies. It was really natural. What was your decision in doing it that way on this film?
Well, on set we were calling it "Screens the Movie," right? And so yeah, I'm glad you felt that it felt natural.
Yeah.
At the same time, I wanted them to be so pervasive that they almost became nauseating. To almost have them be to have them over time become kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, it's and just to foreground all of that, because I think we're living in a really weird time, and it's easy to forget that because again, all these things are so pervasive that they become ambient, and things that are obvious kind of become less so when they're ambient, right? It becomes banal. But the way that we're living on these phones, and then what's coming with AI, already that's been kind of normalized, but it's weird. It's weird.
I totally agree with you. I like how you used it, and it was such a natural usage of the technology in it.
We need to free each other's hearts.
Your movies do have a lot of themes about generational trauma, and I've noticed that. Is there a reason, or do you have a feeling that you have to highlight some of this generational trauma in some of these films, or why it's important for you to kind of cover some of these themes in movies?
It's not it's not so conscious as all of that. I don't know. We've all got trauma.
We do.
Yeah, that's pretty much all there is, you know.
It gives every character one heck of a backstory, or at least history to their story. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, and I think this film in particular is about a bunch of people who have their own histories, and they also turn to history to shore up their beliefs, whatever they are. Some of them are directly oppositional, and it's about people who are kind of lost in themselves, and they're living in their heads, and so yeah, it's I more than any other film I've made, I want this to sort of function as like a landscape, you know, where it's Joaquin Phoenix is, his character, Sheriff Joe Cross, he's the main character, but I want I wanted to pull back as far as I could and give as broad a picture of the political, ideological landscape as possible. And also, to also have it be very rooted in New Mexico. It's sort of, this town, Eddington, sort of functions as a microcosm for the rest of the country, but it also sort of functions as a microcosm for the politics of New Mexico as well. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I want to thank you for making this movie. It was an incredible film. I absolutely loved it. I was stressed out from beginning to end. I'm a huge fan of Twin Peaks, so it kind of reminded me of, like, you are? I go out to Twin Peaks up to North Bend twice a year to go visit some of their events, so it just put me into, like, the New Mexico version of that, following the Sheriff's Department. Absolutely loved it, so I really want to thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
So there it is. Ari Aster, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having me.
He's back with another season of real-time, high-stakes law enforcement action. It's On Patrol Live. It's become a must-watch, taking viewers across the country as officers patrol their communities, live and unfiltered. Host and executive producer Dan Abrams is here to talk about the new season and the latest additions to the show and what makes On Patrol Live stand out in the world of live TV. Dan, welcome to the show, my friend.
It is great to be with you.
All right, so the show has had a huge impact, giving people insight on kind of giving them an inside look at law enforcement in real time. What do you think has made On Patrol Live such a success?
I think it's the fact that we are a fly on the wall with police officers. You don't know what's going to happen next. The same way the officers don't know what's going to happen next. And the fact that we're in so many different departments, right? I mean, we're in a lot of the time 9 departments at once with multiple cameras, multiple officers, et cetera. I mean, this is quite an operation that we have here. And so I think that the uncertainty, the fact that you get to see what police officers do is what has led this show to be as successful as it is.
And this season, you're expanding to cover Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. How has it been adding such a high-profile department into the mix?
Yeah, we think it's really important. And it was, I think a really good development for this show, because what we try to do is we try to be in different kinds of departments and in different places, right? So, we don't want just all similar departments from one state, right? That wouldn't be as interesting. So we are in states around the country. We are coast to coast. We are in some sheriff's departments. We are in some really small departments. And having Las Vegas in that mix now as a really big department, a top 10 department in the country, helps add to that diversity in terms of the types of policing you'll see on the show.
And with more than 50 cameras capturing the action, there's a lot happening at once. How do you and your team decide what to highlight and jump on it in that moment?
Yeah, look, it's not easy, right? To figure out exactly where to go. And then to come back to it, by the way, as well, because viewers want to know, well, wait a sec, you were in that scene somewhere else. What ended up happening there? So it is a very complicated show to do, to try to piece together. And look, and sometimes maybe we don't make the right call, meaning it's live, right? So we say, we're going to go here. And then we decide, oh, you know what? Let's actually go to a different scene, etc. So that's part of what makes the show so exciting, is the live aspect of it, is the fact that we're going from department to department. And you're right, making those calls sometimes isn't easy.
And the show also features a missing segment that helps try to raise awareness for missing person cases. Do you have a story where On Patrol Live has made a difference?
We have dozens of cases where On Patrol Live has helped find people who are missing. And that really is one of the hallmarks of the show, is we've got this really passionate community, right? Who love watching the show, and they are a community. And yet, when we talk about the missing segment and about how they can help, man, they jump. The community shares it on social media, and the number of times that we have heard from either departments or the national organizations that are helping to say, it was the On Patrol viewers who did it. That makes this all worthwhile.
Dan Abrams, I want to thank you for joining me. And I got to show all my love to Reel's channel. That's kind of where I started doing this whole TV producing and all that stuff. So big love to everybody over at Reel's channel too. So there you go, man. You can catch On Patrol Live every Friday and Saturday night from 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern on Reels. Don't miss the action as law enforcement officers take you inside their nightly patrols, live and in real time. For more info, visit reels.com. Dan, thanks for joining me, my friend.
Yeah, sure. My pleasure.
Do you ever feel like everyone in your town knows everything about your life? Now imagine that. But, in the Arctic. North of North is Netflix's latest Canadian original comedy, and it follows Siaja, a young Inuk woman navigating small town gossip, single motherhood, and discovering herself in the snowy, tight-knit community. She's fierce. She's funny and pretty much not afraid to fall on her face. And bringing her to life is the incredibly talented Anna Lambe, who's here with a fresh new series that's as heartfelt as it is hilarious. Welcome to the show, Anna. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so your character Siaja kind of like makes some of these big, bold moves right from the start of the series. What drew you to her story, and what parts of her journey felt especially personal for you to play?
I mean, from the moment that I read the audition sides, I was so deeply invested. I loved that she was well-intentioned, but so incredibly messy and complicated, and had all of these dynamics around her, a complicated relationship with her mother, an unsatisfying marriage, but a dream and an ambition that she wanted something else for herself. And to tell the story, which is like a second coming of age. This young woman deciding that she wants a life that she wants to live. She wants, something that is different, and she wants to put herself first for the first time in her life. Was so exciting. And the showrunners, Alethea Onakok-Burrell and Stacey Aucklook-McDonald, are, the producers of the first ever film that I did when I was 15 years old, called The Grizzlies. And it really was a full circle moment, coming back together and going from Grizzlies, which was this little indie film, to now North of North for Netflix. It was just, I spent months auditioning for it and many days crying about it, hoping that it would work out. And it did. And I'm so incredibly proud of what we created.
And I'm glad it did. The show, it balances comedy with some real emotional depth. How did you find that balance as an actor, especially with some of Siaja's tougher moments?
Yeah, I think finding it as an actor might have been difficult if I wasn't from Iqaduit, if I wasn't Inuk, because that is so representative of how we do navigate hard times in our lives and how we deal with things. Inuit humor, it can be so dry, it can be so silly, but there's so much trauma that exists within our community, there's so much hardship, that a sense of humor is how we get through it and how we face the really difficult things. So doing that, and especially with Micah Harper, who plays Nevi, who's also from Iqaduit, being on the same level as someone and really understanding each other and each other's history and what you're bringing to a scene and how you really kind of create that, I love you so much, but do you make me angry, was so, what we knew already. So it was, I think as an actor, a real privilege to be able to get to do that swing of emotion, the really silly, like high comedy, kind of clowny stuff, all the way to, the heartbreaking kind of punches you in the stomach stuff.
And North of North it's comedy, but it's also a huge moment for Inuit storytelling. What does it mean for you to be a part of a project led by Inuit creators, filmed in the Arctic and starring an indigenous cast?
It's so exciting. As we were getting ready to film the show and as we were filming the show, a lot of people would say like, oh, does it feel like a lot of pressure? Do you feel a lot of pressure doing this and telling this story? And shockingly, no, because the showrunners are Inuit women from the North. Micah Harper is an Inuk woman from the North. Zorga Kaunak is an Inuk woman from the North. And so it was like the shared responsibility of representing the community in the best way possible. And we got so much love back from Eqadungmiut, from people from Eqaluit, and from the territory as a whole, from the designers that contributed work to our show, to, other filmmakers that wanted to support us, to the community just showing up and supporting us in whatever way that they could. So it always reframed things in the big picture of, we're not just creating a show, we're not just, doing these roles and doing this for our own careers. It's always about the community, it's always about the bigger picture, and it's always about, telling the story and what that could mean for people when they watch it. So it's just been a real privilege. It's been really exciting, and it's been a beautiful thing to share this with, people that just love this show and love the North. And now, an international audience gets to watch it, which is pretty cool and exciting.
Anna Lambe, thanks for joining me this morning. Check out North of North. It's available now on Netflix. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
What happens when a working mom becomes the most powerful woman in her state and still can't get her family to listen? Tyler Perry's She the People is the Netflix comedy about a newly elected lieutenant governor juggling politics, a chaotic household, and a boss who still thinks it's the 1950s. So today we're joined by Terri J. Vaughn and JoMarie Payton, who brings the laughs and the family drama in this bold and funny new series. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Thank you. We are fantastic. That was the perfect description of our show. Thank you.
Thank you. For those that are just hearing about the show, how would you describe She the People in your own words?
Oh my God. Well, you did that so well. Yes, Antoinette, my character Antoinette Dunkerson, becomes the first Black lieutenant governor in the great state of Mississippi, and we watch her navigate that path with a governor in place that does seem like he's stuck in the 1950s. That was perfect. Also, she's balancing that career path while at the same time juggling her home and family life with a very colorful family, a very nosy and bold speaking family. So navigating those and raising two teenage kids in the world of social media, co-parenting with an ex-husband, and dealing with a very, very nosy mom is set for fun. Set for fun.
But listen. We're proud of her now. I'm proud of her as a daughter, and they're happy about their mothers in their position. But we still want to do our thing. You know what I'm saying? I still want to go to the casino. I want to be with my friends. We'll go fishing. I'm retired. I want to have a good time. I don't want everybody all down my back asking her where your mama going now. Who is she with? 'Cause I still like my boyfriends. And then her children, they still want to be with those phones and stuff and all. They don't want to tapping their phones with their conversations. Listen, we got business to take care of. We got stuff to do. But we're also not ignoring that we got issues in this world.
JoMarie, you play Cleo, Antoinette's mother, and she's got her opinions. So what do you love about playing her?
What I learned about playing her?
What do you love?
That is a lot like me, JoMarie. and everything, but she's more me. I love the fact that I love the fact we're on Netflix too. I have that kind of freedom to really be me, you know, and to deal with all these different things, with family life and politics. And although she says, I don't like politics, she doesn't like the BS of politics, but yeah, she loved to get into the mix. Come on now. But so that's what I'm loving about this character. Yeah, and I'm hoping that you love it too. So I can bring things to you to make you feel better about you, and that you wake up that next morning seeing you and feeling better about everything that life has to offer because you saw you and you made you better.
And the show touches on like real issues, like and also is extremely funny, keeping the laughs going. What is the balance between comedy and reality and bringing those together on set?
I think the funny is based in reality. Like all the storytelling is totally relatable topics, things that we are seeing, stories ripped from the headlines. So it is very grounded in reality, but we laugh. Like my favorite thing in the world to do is laugh. I believe that laughter is healing. Even in, just dramatic situations, sometimes you just got to step back and you just got to laugh at the ridiculousness that we are living in, that we have to navigate through. And so we wanted to create this show to be able to address real life issues that we are dealing with, but give it to you in a digestible way where you can laugh, but also you can think and maybe start some conversations around the issues and around the things that we present.
It's just like an example I can give you because I don't want to use it every time. And I'm real concerned about children not having breakfast in the morning, having food to eat when they go to school and all, because I'm one of 9 and we went through that. And also, but the funny in it for me would be if they did take the program out of school or whatever, like they have, son, that I say, something, I saw a little peepee and he was hungry. Tell that boy to stop by my house before we go to school so I can give him something to eat. And then I may start a protest. We don't know. The show has so many veins to it. Yeah. And because we have so many issues and so many things that we want to fix and make right and make you feel good that you helped us make it right. Until the funny is going to come out of that. That you might pass our house and see me outside with the barbecue grill, big one there, with pots on there, and I'm slinging grits. Say, come on here, boy, and get something to eat before you go to school or whatever. That brings us to the fact that it's important. Yeah, that's an important thing. It's important that teachers ain't got enough, because I see Sally and Walmart.
She gets all riled up, right?
She ain't got what she needs. Girl, come over here, get some more paper. So when you get some more things, so you go to school. We have to address their health. I go to CVS. I'm gonna say it, and I gotta go pick up my medicine. Why I gotta pay for this? How much do y'all want me to die? Right? It's something funny about that, but it's real. That's real. That's real.
You got it?
I got you. All right, Terri, JoMarie, thanks for joining me this morning. Don't miss the Laugh Out Loud comedy that happens when politics and family pretty much go head-to-head under one roof. It's available now on Netflix. She the People. Check it out. Thank you, too, for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. We love you.
Thank you so much.
Grief, friendship, and a little dark humor. My Dead Friend Zoe brings it all together in a story about a veteran navigating life with her best friend, who just, happens to be a ghost. Sonequa Martin Green stars as Merritt, a U.S. Army veteran facing family struggles, personal loss, and the ever-present Zoe. The movie's already in theaters, and Sonequa joins me right now. Welcome to the show, Sonequa. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. Thank you for having me.
All right. This film walks like a fine line between drama, dark comedy. Like, how did you approach playing Merritt, someone that's like dealing with grief in such a really unconventional way?
Oh, well, thank you for calling it unconventional. It's a lot of a lot of how I dealt with it and the carrying of the role and the carrying of the weight of the role was because I was seeking to do justice to Kyle Houseman Stokes. Because this is his story. Our director, who also wrote this, AJ Bermudez helped write as well, but this is his story, 93% as it happened. And so from the very beginning, I knew that I needed to do this justice. And this is a veteran story. It is about PTSD, survivor's remorse and shame and guilt and acclimating to life after war. But it's also for anybody, whether you served or not, who's dealing with these things, because so many of us are. So many are walking around with this kind of pain. So I think that in order for all of that to land, and in order for the prevailing theme of the film to come across, which is talk about it before you make a rash decision, talk about it, I think we need the humor to really like round it out. And so Natalie Morales, she offers that buoyancy that the film needs. And I mean, she's mainly the reason why, it's a dark comedy. Kyle wrote a really brilliantly balanced script. And it was wonderful to be able to bring it to life with her. And sort of, I represent the gravity, she represented the levity.
She's hilarious.
Yes.
Just absolutely hilarious. How did you go about, like, I don't want to, I'm spoiling it. All right. She's Tyler Durden, basically a Fight Club the entire time. How do you go about telling the story from that perspective, that you are in some scenes being yourself, communicating with some of the characters that are around you, and then also on the same level communicating with her, and also as everybody around you is staring at you like, this person's crazy, this person's off your rocker? How do you play that fine line as a character? Because that must have been one hell of a hard role to do, to be able to like play two conversations at once while you're the only one that's in both of them at the same time.
That's a really great question. Thank you for asking. I think that there was obviously there's a totality of thoughts and experiences that fed into Merritt, right? And that fed into Kyle. Merritt as Kyle as Merritt, right? Me as Merritt, bringing Kyle's life to the light. I think that what made it I won't say easy, but what made it doable for me was knowing that this is the way this woman lives. This woman lives with this constant this constant presence of the guilt and the shame and the survivor's remorse. And something that Natalie Morales says a lot is she likes to call Zoe a guilt demon, right? Because she isn't a ghost. It isn't the actual Zoe. It's a manifestation of her, and she's grown to this level of personification because of the harping on it, because this is something that is growing and toxifying and fermenting in Merritt's heart and in her mind. So it's almost like growing and swelling to the point where it's going to take over her life. And we see that it sort of has, right? And so it was interesting because knowing that she's always on my mind, that was how every moment was played. She's here. She's always here. I am so guilty. I feel so much shame. I have such deep survivor's remorse. All I want to do is go back and change the past, but I can't. And I'm stuck in this loop of pain because of it.
Sonequa Martin Green, thanks for joining me this morning. My Dead Friend Zoe is now playing in theaters, so if you haven't seen it yet, this is the perfect time to go check it out. To find showtimes, to learn more, go to mydeadfriendzoemovie.com. Sonequa, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
And that's it for Rise and Unwind. I want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the show. If you actually want to see the show on YouTube, follow us at Rise Unwind TV. Make sure you like, you comment, you share, all that other good stuff. Helps us too. And until next week, that was Rise and Unwind.